what we know about global pandemics, and if you look at historically, whenever there is a global event, there are trends that occur that will really um, create multi-billion dollar businesses. So as we speak today, there are folks, SMEs, large corporations, relatively large corporations, adapting to the new normal and will become significant billion dollar companies post COVID. So now our challenge is, how do we make few of our Sri Lankan companies partake in this journey and really become global players? When we talk about five trends really that impact that we feel that will have an impact post COVID. And these five trends are none of these trends are new. These are trends that have been in place, or these trends were occurring, over the last 10, 15 years. But what has happened is all these trends will now become accelerated, and they are going to become permanent adaptation by consumers and businesses. So we need to understand these trends. Now, these trends, how you adapt these trends by industry will differ. Each industry will have very different nuanced ways to tackle this. But from a macro perspective, there are five trends. The first trend is virtualization of events, activities, and interactions. What's going to happen? I mean, if you look at from a local context, let's take the example of ODOC. Hospital, doctors virtually consulting with patients. ODOC has been there for the last 4-5 years. It's been a startup that was fledgling, going through a lot of problems. Suddenly, huge uptake. The biggest, doctors didn't even sign up. Doctors said, hey, you can't do virtual consultations. But now today, for a whole month, bulk of consultations happen via ODOC, or ODOC and other platforms so we are adapting to virtualization. What will that happen to hospital visits? What will happen is, if you take doctor visits, I would say about 75-80% of those doctor visits are very routine ones that you can actually do virtually. And then you'll have the 20% cases where you need the touch and feel, you need to kind of see the patient. Those are the ones that will actually visit hospitals. So another example is remote working. What we are doing right now. The challenge for all businesses is going to be, once lockdown is lifted, are we going to bring 100% of our workforce back into offices? Or are we going to radically change this and make our companies 50% of our employee base work from home, continue to work from home? Productivity hasn't really changed. I'm working with a lot of companies, people are adapting. What will that happen to commercial real estate? You will need half the space. If you're doubling your office, you double your office by remote access. So those are all things that companies will start thinking from a virtualization perspective. The second process is the automation of processes and services. I mean, it's interesting. Most of our services, most companies that we've been working for the last 2-3 years have been going through this automation process. Now that's going to get accelerated. All tasks. I mean, there's an interesting case study in Cyprus where when the lockdown happened, the problem statement was, how do I walk my dog? That was solved by getting drones. So drones are now used in Cyprus to walk their dogs because you couldn't physically walk the dog out. So that adaptation of these processes being automated is going to be key. And we can see in Sri Lanka itself, 100-year-old industry, and I'm sure Vish will talk a lot about it when during the panel discussion. The tea industry is now starting to get automated. It's a small step, but it's starting to get automated. Now, will that remain after post-COVID or not? That's a question to be answered. The third emerging trend is pure play and hybrid online marketplaces. So now globally, we've seen a shift away from brick and mortar. I mean, today, J.Crew, which is used to be one of the largest retail stores in the US, filed for bankruptcy. Not because of COVID, it was anyway that the trend was away from brick and mortar towards more online or hybrid marketplaces. That's a trend that was happening. It's going to get accelerated. Do we really believe that consumers will now go back to going into brick and mortar, into supermarkets? Do we go back into supermarkets, or do we, now that we have started using, we know our 5 to 10 suppliers that we deliver online, do we stick with those? So will that be a structural change, and how would companies adapt to that? The fourth element is the diversification of supply chain. This also was a trend that was happening, what this talks about is basically the supply chain in most companies were limited to 1 or 2 suppliers, and most of them based in China because of the cost arbitrage. What was happening is there was a gradual shift away from them, and geographic diversification became a cornerstone. And companies that we are working with, global companies, are looking at other Asian destinations to source material. Great opportunity for Sri Lanka, and how we make advantage of that is going to be critical. And the last trend that was already in place was customer intimacy. It's really about hyper customization to the customer, be it B2C or B2B. That in the past it was about giving low cost products. Now it's no longer about that. It's about giving convenience to the customer, and customer is going to be very much more demanding because there's going to be a lot more options out there for your products. So how do you bring data and digital and other aspects into your organizations to become more customer intimate with the customer, understanding their order patterns before they even order? If I'm doing a supermarket, if I'm doing a weekly order, 90% of it is the same order. I shouldn't be actually putting text and saying, I need milk, eggs, butter. It should just come on a weekly basis, because if you track for 3 months, you know your buying patterns. So you should be. So these are kind of 5 trends that are occurring that will really change how businesses and consumers operate in the future.